All right, today we're going to try something a little different. Let's totally reimagine YouTube. I want you to forget about the code, the servers, all the tech stuff for a minute. Instead, I want you to think of it as one single living creature.
So just keep that question in the back of your mind as we go through this. What if the endless scroll, those viral trends, the algorithm itself, what if they were all just parts of a single massive entity? And the mental model we're going to use for this creature is the Ouroboros. You've probably seen it. It's that ancient symbol of a serpent eating its own tail. It's the perfect metaphor for a system that feeds on itself to grow, where every single output just becomes a new input in this infinite loop. And trust me, that is exactly what's happening on YouTube right now.
Okay, so first up, let's try and map out this creature's territory. We're going to dive into how YouTube has become this totally self-contained ecosystem. The source material for this explainer uses this kind of academic term for it, a holistic manifold. But really, all that means is that there's no outside anymore. Think about it. An event happens in the real world, and it's instantly swallowed by the serpent. It gets digested into reaction videos, memes, commentary, which then spills back out and influences the real world again. It's a perfect, closed loop.
And this isn't just some abstract idea, right? This organism has some serious economic muscle. We're talking 55 times billion dollars contributed to the US GDP alone. That kind of money creates its own gravity, pulling creators and viewers and advertisers deeper into its orbit, pretty much forcing them to keep feeding that loop.
And, if we're going to stick with our serpent metaphor, then the algorithm, well, that's its digestive system. It's the engine that breaks down every click, every view, every single time you swipe away, all that raw data, and it transforms it into the one and only nutrient this Ouroboros actually craves: your attention.
Okay, so if the platform is the body, what are its individual cells? Let's take a look at the anatomy of this beast. We're going to do that by breaking down the creators themselves, the millions of moving parts that actually give it life.
So this slide here breaks creators down into 4 key roles inside the ecosystem. First up, you've got the personality. Their whole value is just being authentic, messy, human. Next is the trendjacker. Think of them as the serpent's immune system, constantly reacting to whatever's popular and keeping things balanced. Then there's the niche expert, the ones who provide that deep, reliable knowledge that kind of grounds the whole system. And finally, you have the AI channel, which, isn't a person at all, but a system built for pure, scalable content creation. Each one plays a totally different but vital role.
And really, this all boils down to 2 extremes. On one side, you have creators whose entire brand is their authentic, unscripted, completely un-AIable self. They're building these huge communities that almost feel like friendships. And then, on the complete other side, you have channels that are pure system, designed to just churn out content with robotic efficiency. And it's this tension, this push and pull between the human and the machine that really powers the whole thing.
Which brings us right to the engine of the Ouroboros. See, the whole thing isn't powered by harmony and everyone getting along. No way. It's powered by paradox. It's the creative friction between these opposing forces that actually makes it evolve.
And this slide, it illustrates that tension perfectly. On one hand, you have what's being called creative maximalism. You probably know it as brain rot or sludge content. That chaotic sensory overload stuff. And then, in direct reaction to that, the system created its own antibody, digital minimalism. You see it in things like silent vlogs and slow living videos. The serpent creates both the illness and the cure.
So here's the crucial point. As AI gets better and better at creating flawless, infinite content, the value of that perfection basically drops to 0. And suddenly, human flaws, the ums and ahs, the shaky camera, the imperfect lighting, they stop being bugs. They become features. They're the proof of humanity watermark that audiences are really starting to crave.
Okay, so this is all fascinating theory, right? But how do you actually survive inside this thing? Let's shift gears and get practical. This is a survival guide for creators who are trying to ride the serpent without getting eaten alive.
And the stakes for creators are incredibly high. I mean, look at this number. A staggering 79% report experiencing burnout. It's what happens. It's the inevitable result when a finite human being tries to feed an infinite beast.
Yeah, this path is so common, it's almost predictable. First, you've got the hustle loop. More work gets you more rewards, which just creates pressure to do even more. Then, almost inevitably, comes the burnout crash. That's when your human energy just collides with the system's infinite demand. The only way forward from there is what's called the sustainable pivot, shifting your whole focus from the sheer volume of content to the unique value only you can provide.
So how do you actually make that pivot? Well, one really effective strategy is this content pyramid.
At the base, the foundation is your hygiene content. This is your stable, searchable, how-to stuff that brings new people in. The middle is your hub content. This is the core series, the stuff that keeps your community coming back. And then right at the very top is your hero content, the big, high-effort, viral moments that expand your reach to everybody. It's a framework for balancing stability and growth without completely burning out.
And it's not just about what you make anymore. It's also about where people are watching it. The Serpent's environment is changing. Viewership is literally moving from the phone in your hand to the TV in the living room. This living room pivot means creators have to start thinking more cinematically, better pacing, higher quality audio, longer formats. It's really no surprise that podcast watch time on TVs has doubled in just 1 year.
Which brings us to a final thought. Trying to beat the algorithm, it's like trying to beat the ocean. It's a complete misunderstanding of what the system is. So the real question isn't about how you defeat the serpent. It's about making a conscious choice. Now that you understand the different roles, the paradoxes, the strategies, how will you choose to ride it?